Alright, I bought this DeWalt saw I used to replace my old beat the crap Craftsman that I had for a long time, probably like 12-15 years. And it was one of the cheap ones with the plastic base, 10-inch. I like the rail on it. The fence on that saw locked up pretty solid, and it was pretty square for a cheap saw. The DeWalt, not so much. Don't like this fence. It's got a lot of wiggle and wobble to it, and I really just haven't figured out how to fix that. I already haven't. Thinking about buying Super Cool Tools fence and doing his rail kit and just making a nice short rail. Most of my cuts are only going to be small anyway. But going through this saw, I've just had, no fun. If I was just building my shed, I would have had no problems. Now that I'm just trying to cut some smaller stuff and do a little trim around the house, this saw's just been giving me fits. Now, it's not focusing on the gauge, but it's at 0. And this is my runout gauge that I used to use to check runout on rotors and hubs before rotors became disposable. So we don't even bother checking them these days unless we have a problem. So 100 thousandths. Move it across. And that's as low as I can go. I'd like to go lower, but I just don't have the jig. So now I'm almost close to. Oh, it's about 10 thousandths off. So I'm going to fix that somehow, some way. And there's definitely something moving around down in the guts here. I mean, I'm just pushing on the aluminum housing down here and getting quite a bit of movement. Okay. So there's got to be some screws loose or something. So I'm going to try to force it over. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I have the blade on backwards because I'm going to measure it with the blade in both directions. Just something I like to do. Now, I've been building a few jigs here and there over the last week or so. So, really didn't feel like building another jig. I was gonna mount something on this runner here, and this runner fits really nice. It's just made out of, I don't know what kind of wood it is. It's hard though. I mean, my blade, this saw, and even the coarse blade, when I'm ripping this stuff, it was smoking. I don't know if it's maple or oak or what. It's hard. These are from a bed, but I can't get a 1/1000th feeler gauge in there, so it's pretty tight, and it doesn't slide all that easy, but it does slide. I was gonna mount this to this somehow, so I can get it nice and low, but just didn't have it in me. So this will be close enough. I mean, at least points out that there's something going on. So let me get this tightened back up, and we'll see what the difference is. It's an old camera. It's actually one of those old power shots. I'll probably run out of memory card before I get this done. It just can't handle a large memory card. place. Let's find my mark. Make sure everything's flat and down. Alright, so I don't know if it'll show up on the gauge. It's on 0. This is the same tooth I measured before on the other side of the blade. And that's still about 10 thousandths off. So whatever is off, at least it's consistent. Sometimes you do this stuff and you get a different reading every time. And even if you go across the board, across the blade, it doesn't vary all that much. So we'll go back to our red mark on this one tooth. Zero it out again. See if I can do this without knocking the camera over. Okay, I'm going to just try to rotate this at the same time. And we're still about, I'm going to say it averages to about 7 thousandths off. I mean, I'm not looking for too crazy, but 10 thousandths is a little too much. In my mind it is anyway. I mean, on the shortcuts, it's not too bad, but you know, 6, 8, 10 inches, it's starting to show its face as a you know, just enough a gap to make it look crappy. You know, if you're going to be painting it, you know, you can fill the gaps with sawdust and silicone and everything else. But like I said, something's definitely loose. Probably some mountain boat loose. I'm just pushing on the aluminum housing under the table, and I can swing it almost 20 thousandths. So I'm gonna get over there and see what's going on, but I want to see if I can't get the blade somewhat zeroed. Okay, that's 0. So every time I mess with this housing, it gets a little better, but I'm not really sure how to hold it there. So I gotta figure out how to wedge it with something. Because it just says, looked up the adjustments, and it says just to loosen 2 screws, and I'm gonna guess those are loose. So I went a little past 0. Trying to get it to hold there. It's the hard part. Okay, so right there is not too shabby. I've just been prying it over with the thing, so. I keep pushing down on the board because if it rides up, I mean, if I push hard on this side, it'll move at thousands. You know, but if it starts to rock back and forth, which it really shouldn't, so I'm going to try to stick a shim in there from my feeler gauge set. That's really only moving the blade. Now I guess I'm going to have to go under there and just push it by hand and take a educated guess. And this is the rig I tried to hook up somewhere, clamping it on the edge somewhere, and I just couldn't get it in the right position. There's a piece under here that you can bolt things to. You can bolt it to something else, and just gets in the way, so not really getting any closer. I mean, ideally I'd like to get down here and measure, but this is good enough. Let's see if I can't eyeball this. Alright, let's see if we got better or we got worse. You know, the problem now is, now that I moved it, the blade's touching a little more. It's definitely touching a little harder than it was before. That's a little better. I'm down to 2 thousandths. Let's see if I can't figure out how to pry that just a touch more. Oh shit, I moved a lot that time. Alright. No, I can definitely see the difference already. But still not too bad. It's definitely better than it was. I mean, before I was at 10,000ths. So now I'm down to about 3,000ths. Just a little better. Alright, do it a couple more times. Alright, so that's still pretty damn good. So if I just slide this back and forth. Yeah, I get, just because this board isn't resting flat, I get almost 1,000th of an inch movement. I don't know why it's lifting up. Ah, that's it. I cranked it way too high up. Okay, so. See, there's always something when you don't know what you're doing. There's a little, I guess it's part of the dust collection thing. That comes up. There we go. Alright, that's better. Okay, so let's start over. Shan't we? Chumley? Anyway. Still not low enough. There it is. So across the blade like that, moves about 1,000th of an inch. And just back and forth. Now what I'm doing now is I'm just looking for another way. This is a 13 thousandths feeler gauge, and when I stick it on the side here, it just barely moves the needle. So I know that's a pretty tight fit. So now I'm going to mark it where I checked it. I'm going to move this down to that mark. It's this tooth. And that fits nice and snug too. I don't have the dial indicator on there, but it just fits. So I mean, it's under 5 thousandths. It's closer to 3. And that's a lot better than 10. So I'm just going to try a different blade altogether. Different tooth. Okay, that's at 0. And that's a little over 0 at 1, so I'm much happier than with that. So I'm going to crank on those screws. They weren't really loose, but they must have been loose enough, because like I said, there was some definite flex in there, so I'm going to tighten them up and see how much it still flex. And just for the heck of it, check the run out of the blade. One little spot there, 2 thousandths. That could be crud on the blade too. This blade's got a little rusty. It's an old blade, but it's the best blade I have on hand. And this is why you index off one tooth. I mean, there's some slop. I don't expect much from a job site saw. I mean, there's 10 thousandths worth of slop there. But now that the blade's aligned, one less sloppiness that will be there. Try to get right near that ridge. Yeah. Just crud on the blade. So right now I'm not getting much. So right there, something going on. we'll have to do. Alright, back to my original 2 teeth. I'm going to just check it one more time. Zero's out. Zero's out. 1/1000ths. That's good enough. Yeah, see, I can't move it anymore, so those bolts must have been loose. Zero. Zero, good enough for me. It's better. So now I have to go and recheck everything. Actually, I ordered a new machinist square because I don't trust any of my squares because they all don't agree with each other.